Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the ZonaZoo Sports Report. I'm Ben Gabrielson. Alongside me is Maddy, downtown Rundin. And yes, I just gave you that nickname off the top of my head. Maddy, we are coming off the bye week here from Thanksgiving break. So this week's show will be jam-packed. Plus, I had time to rest my injuries. My feet were a little sore. My voice was hoarse. So now we're all 100%. Let's get things rolling.
Well, I'm definitely glad you are feeling better, Ben. The Wildcat football team looked to get things rolling as the University of Oregon came into town with Rose Bowl dreams on the line. However, as many of you now know, the Wildcats came out of that game with an extremely close double overtime loss to the Ducks. The game can be classified as none other than a heartbreaker, and the Cats gave a valiant effort in the defeat. ESPN's College Game Day was on hand, which gave the game an even more electric atmosphere. It was also a readout and senior day at Arizona Stadium. The Ducks struck first, scoring on the opening drive, and it seemed like they wouldn't look back, but the Cats' defense came to play. Oregon would not score again until the second quarter, but Nick Foles and company responded with a touchdown of their own, and Alex Zendejas would contribute with a field goal right before halftime to make it a 14-10 Oregon lead, with an entire second half left to be played. The second half turned into Arizona's favor, and it seemed like the Oregon powerhouse offense had finally found its kryptonite. Meanwhile, the Arizona offense went haywire on Oregon's defense, scoring 14 unanswered points. From there, the game turned into a bit of a nail-biter, in which Oregon found its stride and tied the game before Nick Foles' pass to Jerron Kreiner in the third quarter gave Arizona a 31-24 lead. It was not until Oregon tied the game again at 31 with 6 seconds remaining in the game to force overtime. Finally, in the second overtime, Oregon's defense held Arizona to a field goal, and on the next possession, Oregon's star quarterback Jeremiah Masoli took it into the end zone for the win. Just when the Cats and many Arizona fans believed they had victory in hand, the Ducks, led by Masoli, showed why they remain the #1 team in the Pac-10.
Yeah, that was a very emotionally charged loss. Both fans and players-wise, they put everything they had into that game.
Oh, absolutely. You can't deny that. I mean, obviously, the Cats showed real heart in the defeat.
The Wildcat football team had to take on their crosstown rival, the Arizona State Sun Devils, this past Saturday in Sun Devil Stadium, and it would turn out to be yet another crazy finish for the Cats. This team has grown quite fond of those this season. It was the 83rd edition of the Territorial Cup between the teams, and as always, it's a very hostile environment, despite the 15,000 or so seats that were empty throughout the stadium. The Cats were playing for at least a 6th place finish in the Pac-10 with a possibility of a Poinsettia Bowl, Invitation, or a possible Holiday Bowl. ASU is playing for well, I can't seem to find their bowl predictions in here. I guess I must have lost those somewhere. But we'll find them and we'll get them to you. The game itself, however, was a classic between the two foes. Arizona took a 14-0 lead into halftime off of a block punt and return for a touchdown by Orlando Vargas. But the Devils would mount a comeback, tying the game with 2:02 to go in the game on a 4th and 12 from Arizona's 14-yard line when Devils quarterback Danny Sullivan scrambled around and found senior wideout and hometown product Kyle Williams, who made an unbelievable catch in the back of the end zone. Williams, who had one of the best games he's had as a Sun Devil in his career, had 9 catches for 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 55-yard punt return. But in a matter of seconds, that play would be a distant memory for Devils fans, as Williams would then muff the following punt, and it was recovered by Mike Turner in the final minutes of regulation on his own 22-yard line. That would set up Alex Zendejas' 32-yard game-winning field goal as time expired, and Arizona escaped with a 20-17 victory. It was the first time the Wildcats have beaten the Devils twice in a row since 1997 and 1998. Now going from the gridiron to the hardwood, let's check in with Lisa Lane for an update on Arizona women's volleyball.
Hello Wildcats, I'm Lisa Lane, and tonight I have your women's volleyball update and all the information you need about this weekend's football game. The women's volleyball team was swept 3-0 by UCLA and also fell to USC 3-1 in a tightly contested match. However, despite those 2 losses to the LA teams, Arizona found out some great news. The volleyball team will finally return to the NCAA tournament for a first appearance since 2005. This will be the team's 22nd trip to the NCAA tournament. The women's volleyball team will face Texas A&M on Friday, December 4th in the first round action. So congratulations to our women's volleyball team, and we wish them the best of luck. We will have all the follow-up information on how the team is doing in the tournament in our next ZonaZoo Sports Report. Lastly, I want to wrap things up by giving you some information you will need to know about the road trip to the USC football game. If you bought tickets through the ZonaZoo and you are not taking the bus, you need to pick up your shirt, sunglasses, and game ticket in the ASUA office between now and Friday. If you do not pick up your stuff, there will be no refunds. If you are taking the ZonaZoo road trip bus, then you do not have to worry about picking up your stuff in the office. Just make sure to make it over to McHale before 1 a.m. If the bus leaves and you are late, there will be no refunds. For those of you who didn't buy tickets through the ZonaZoo, we still hope to see you at the game. If not, make sure to watch the game with some Wildcat fans. Well, that is all the time I have this evening. I am Lisa Lane. Back to you, Ben and Maddy.
Speaking of the road trip to USC, the Cats have had the best chance they have had in years to beat USC. The Trojans are the most vulnerable they have been in many years, losing to Washington and getting blown out by both Oregon and Stanford. The Cats have not beaten USC since 2001, and anytime you play a Pac-10 team on the road is going to be a tough game. USC has a lot of injuries right now to key players, but they did manage to beat rival UCLA last weekend 28-7. It should be a good game, but the Cats' offense and defense must perform well in order to succeed in beating USC. Arizona is 5th in the nation in punt returns, while USC is 7th, and Arizona receiver Bug Wright leads the nation with 19.2 yards per punt return. With a victory over USC, the Cats move closer to a Holiday Bowl bid. If they lose, it looks like the Cat will be in the Poinsettia Bowl. Either way, the Cats are probably going to San Diego for their bowl game.
With the football team, possibly a bowl game in sunny San Diego, we turn to another Arizona team just getting back from paradise. The Arizona Wildcat men's basketball team will be welcomed home from their long trip to Maui with another tough game against the 21st ranked Rundin Rebels of UNLV. Who are fresh off a huge win against Louisville. The Rebels were up 19 points with just over 14 minutes to play, withstood a 30-11 rally from the Cardinals, and defeated the then-ranked 16th Cardinals in that one. The Cats will have to be at the top of their game for this game. The Rebels' leading scorer, Trayvon Willis, will lead a prominent attack of high-flying guards who know how to get to the rim. The Wildcats will have to rely heavily on the inside play of two youngsters, Kirill Natiasco and Derek Williams, as the Rebels only played 2 players over 6'4". The Cats will look to improve on their 2-0 record at McHale.
Yeah, Ben, this young Arizona team really has some great potential, but they will be tested when they play UNLV on Wednesday. Well, that will do it for us on this week's edition of the ZonaZoo Sports Report. Check out this episode as well as previous episodes and many other videos on our website at youtube.com/ZonaZooTV. Next week, we will bring you highlights and analysis of football versus USC and the men's basketball game versus UNLV. For Ben Gabrielson, I'm Maddy Rundin. Thanks for joining us tonight, and bear down.